Hi there, welcome to the Gooner booth. We're new around here, so please be kind in the comments. We're gonna do a match preview on the United game, but first, I think we should talk about the transfers and go into our predicted starting 11. First is let's get into it. So Wayne, what do you think of the transfer market so far? Six signings. Obviously we've got our, the striker that everyone wanted. Yeah, what's your thoughts?
Yeah. Good evening, Tone. I'm happy with the Gyökeres signing. To be fair, mate. There's obviously a lot of talk about Sesko, from January to the summer. But yeah, I think you have to put aside what you feel is a better suit for Arsenal because this, the way that Sesko plays, we got that in Havertz, if you like. What
Yeah.
we haven't got is an out and out number nine in the box, puts penalties away, puts it in the back of the net, mate. What was you happy with that, or would you think so?
Yeah,
Obviously, would you have preferred
I would.
Tesco or?
I would say we've done a lot of like for like signings. Obviously Gyökeres is, an exciting sign. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. I think that at the moment, 3 games, if he doesn't score, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him.
Oh yeah,
Which is probably fair, considering his goal record. It's in the Portuguese league, so he's got to prove himself really. From what I've seen so far, the movement's good. He's doing all the right things, so hopefully he hits the ground running. I think he needs to. I think he needs to score a couple of goals. But yeah, he's the problem that we've got. So we're going to get into it. Is the United game? He's gonna be compared to Sesko, whether he likes it or not. He's gonna have to prove why he was the right signing for us.
yeah.
Yeah. What would you rate the window so far out of 10?
Yeah, that's a good question, mate. I thought you'd say something along them lines. Out of 10, it's so tough, matey. I've seen people say as low as say 6 out of 10. I've seen some
Yeah.
people say 8.5 out of 10. Obviously, we'll get onto our preference, which we've found out obviously today. But
Yeah.
if you're going to say to me in terms of what we've done, I would say in terms of the positions we've covered, happy with it. Whatever you think of Madueke, we'll come to that later. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's much better player than Sterling. That's what I will say. But we'll
Okay.
we'll we'll come and we'll come to that, dude. But yeah, I'd have to say, mate, if we've got a couple more, there's talk of Saliba, there's talk of Saka potentially signing new deals. The players that have Gabriel, we can wax lyrical about, and we love him, dude. He's a brilliant player. Signing Miles, and Ethan to new contracts. I would say, Tone, I've got to go on about. I'm waffling on a bit, matey, so I'll close it up with saying about 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
If you get Saliba, you get Saka, and you get that left winger, I would say you've got to say 10 out of 10. At the
Okay.
moment, it's going to sit for me for 7.5 out of 10. I still think you can't say you can't be sort of unhappy with it. I still think there's one more up front as well, and that
Yeah.
will to elevate the team. What do you think?
So I'm gonna.
Would you
I,
agree with a 7.5 out of 10, or would you?
I wouldn't. No. I'm gonna be harsh here. I think a 5 or a 6 for me, purely because um
Yeah, mate.
I'm gonna sound
Fair enough.
ungrateful,
Yeah.
but I feel like yes, we've made loads of signings, but we've made like for like signings, and we've yes, we're stronger. We've got him with Gyökeres is
Fair
that
point, mate.
striker that we wanted. But we're still asking questions. We're still short. We're still the left wing's a mess. Um,
Mm.
and I'm hoping
Yeah.
that we can sort of bring in an Eze or Rodrigo. I'm not sure how that's going, but and the news reports aren't looking good on that. But I, it, my worry is if we're going into the season with Madueke as our left winger, with Martinelli, who for some reason can't hit form, then yeah, we haven't addressed all the areas that we should have done, and it's going to be disappointing. Yeah, I think
Yeah. Just yeah.
so. Would you?
Yeah. Sorry there, Tone. I'm with you.
Yeah,
Sorry, my friend. Yeah, it's just such a tough one. The problem. What I would say to you is to be wary of. And sorry to interject there. It's just because as you say, it's correct in that sense because Um, as we've previously discussed, we have quite literally, if I can for just a couple of minutes, I'll run down to you for Nito left on loan, so we've got in Kepa. So
Yeah,
we've not added to the squad, we've replaced. Yeah. Uh, um, say you've got Mosquera as an addition, I would say, in terms of
yeah.
depth at centre back, which I think is a very good signing.
I mean,
As
I
I say,
mean,
it's
from what I've
all
seen
in
of
15, 20
Mascara
million,
so far,
fantastic sort of like bit of business.
yeah. From what I've seen of him so far, he's all your internet connections a bit dodgy there, Wayne. What I've seen of Mascara, he's not a bad signing. I think he think he's going to be a bit of a steal. 15 million,
Hmm.
you know. He's quick, he's powerful. I just hope, I just hope that he's not going to be. I hope in the background he's not Saliba's replacement, because Saliba hasn't signed a contract yet. I'm hoping that he's not been brought in, has a has a back. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I'm hoping that he's not been brought in because Saliba's leaving. That'd be disappointing.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. But I get that. I mean, it depends who you look at on Twitter. I mean, I go on there a lot of time, lot more than you do. I know, sort of thing. I'm always, because obviously being a postman, on me. I'm out and about, I'm on my phone, sort of, I'm bored, I'm posting letters, but you're looking at it, checking. And there's a lot of people saying that the Saliba new deal um, is sort of like, it's almost done, sort of thing. But one thing I'd like to say to you as well, was come out, which I've just read today, I'd like to add to it in terms of Rodrigo. Whether if you remember, do you remember Supermendi and him trying to say marker? We're trying to say
Yeah,
that Asabi Alonso wanted to wanted to hijack the deal. They've done again, and they've done it earlier, and they've done it again. But this time they're saying they've offered Rodrigo, but they
yeah.
want a swap deal for Saliba. Now this is marker. I don't believe them, Tone. They're the
Not,
mouthpiece of
not
Real
the
Madrid.
best source. No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're far from it, dude. So you know that is one of those things I don't listen to, but I laughed, really, to be fair, mate. I just
yeah,
think I do think you have a have a Saliba is a welder. You're going to get silly stuff written. Real Madrid, after what they see and what he did, did against them. Of course, anyone's going to be interested. Come on, like, if there's not a club in
yeah,
world football,
yeah.
but I think that, boy loves the club. I think that's something that it's gonna happen, dude.
Okay.
Obviously, if they want someone, if they wanted Gabby Jesus for Rodrigo, take him. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, mate. It's
I was looking up the news today, and it just come through that it looks like Tottenham are going to be getting Eze, because the £60 million release clause has now expired apparently.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
so so now I'm a little bit worried because you got Rodrigo going to City, um, but also I was looking online earlier today as well, and obviously ESPN's, they're an okay source. They were saying in an article that Rodrigo would only want to go Liverpool if he was going to the Premier League. That's going to be, I think that's going to be a hard deal to get done if we did want him. And it'll cost a lot of money. And we've turned and said that we need to get sales out the club, right? And I'm seeing players like Zinchenko, 8 million. That's peanuts. Um,
yeah, yeah. Can't
we
argue with that.
we Kivior might be going for probably get what 20 to 30 mil for him maybe for a lucky. We're not going to recoup any money by the
Yeah,
sounds of things.
yeah,
I have a lot of
yeah,
you know Chelsea are brilliant at selling players. They sold us Madueke for 52 million. That must have seen
yeah,
us coming. But yeah, if we lose out to Eze, he's going to Tottenham. The only reason I can think of is that we're Berta must have something up his sleeve for us to get. He must have a left winger already in the
mm,
background. I think we have to trust him. The guy's had a decent summer. He's brought in some. He's got Gyökeres in. He's got some hard
yeah,
deals done. So I think we have to trust him. But I am a little bit worried because if we finish the season with the only winger we've bought is Madueke, that is a joke. That's an absolute fucking joke. And I'm going to be worried. And
Mm.
when you look, as we're recording this, Man City are beating Wolves 4-0, absolutely smashing them, right? So other
Yeah.
clubs are a lot stronger this season, and this is an opportunity for us to go big. We have gone big. We spent a lot of money, but I just feel like the other clubs have done the same. Liverpool, in attack, their attack
Finished
is
either.
absolutely crazy. And City, they've rebuilt their squad, but Guardiola's going to get them. He's obviously got them playing 4-0. Wolves aren't an easy fixture away from home, so it leads me on to, but have we done enough? Can we win this league? Are we going to win the league this season? That's the question I'm going to pose to you now. Have we done enough to win the league?
Yeah. I say, I mean, a lot of with Rodrigo. We've had private discussions, which is between us and a couple of other gooners that we chat to, and that's
Yeah,
obviously between us. But
yeah,
you would know from me that chat that I wanted prior to that I wanted Eze. We were linked with him last summer, and I wanted him, and obviously you said I don't think we're getting him. In that message, last couple of weeks, and I would say as well, Sammy Mockbell is quite a very good source. I think he works now for Daily Mail. And he said on a latte firm the other day that he he doesn't think it. If it's likelihood, he's saying I don't really think it's likely at this moment in time. And I
yeah,
thought to myself, he started to go, oh no, and you had hope, you had some people on there. I want Eze because he's not a left winger, but he plays on the left hand side, and I think if do you remember years ago, Thomas Rosicky, we signed him. He was essential. He was an attacking midfielder. He was central. Wenger put him on the left. The next season, we almost won the league. If Eduardo hadn't had his leg broken, we could have gone on. We
yeah,
had a meltdown. Gallas had a meltdown on the pitch. The season just
yeah.
went downhill. Rosicky was not a left winger, but Rosicky was on the left, come from the left, and drifted inside. And that's what I wanted him to do because I think we struggled a lot. Struggled a
He
lot
would have
from breaking the
he would have been
low
good
blocks.
for us. He would have been good for us, I
Yeah,
think, definitely. I think
100%. And Rodrigo, don't sorry, dude, but
um,
Rodrigo, as much as Rodrigo for me reminds me of the Özil signing, if you were to pull it off, because
yeah,
Özil didn't want to come. Özil, if you remember rightly, it was all that Gareth Bale, wasn't it, and all that stuff. And Real Madrid said you've got to go,
yeah,
and we went okay, and we went for it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved Özil for the 3-4 seasons. He was a world class. Both of us were
yeah,
young kids again watching him, but
yeah.
yeah,
So
so that's what I think. With that, I like the Eze, the fact that he's got a history of Arsenal, but of course, I
yeah,
think it's practically almost going to be a done deal, dude. So, I will
yeah,
quickly before we move on, you to answer your question, and please keep that thought, dude. But
yeah,
we have signed a striker a year, 2 years too late, in my opinion.
yeah,
We should have signed him last year. That's the best time to win it. Obviously, you can't go on one game, but Man City have signed some very good players. They've strengthened.
yeah,
Liverpool are strength. They've won the league and they're strengthening. As much as some players, Verts weren't that great, he might grow into it, Tone. He might turn into an 100
yeah.
million pound
You haven't
midfielder.
answered the question though. Giving me the political answer. Where will we finish in the league this season?
You caught me out, didn't you? You caught me out. I think we can, but I think it's going to be a major slog. But I think obviously my confidence will drop, dude, if we don't get that. I still think we need something on that left. There needs to, if Eze's gone,
Yeah,
Tottenham have got him. I'm going to be really jealous. I don't want to be big in Tottenham up. That's not, but they're getting a good player.
they
You
are. Yeah,
as much as you
yeah,
put rivalry, you can hate them with a passion, but they're getting a very good player.
yeah.
So I think I would say to you still without getting a left winger, because I think as a fan you've got to believe. I think we can, but I think it's going to be tougher. Chelsea have improved. Man
There's a lot.
United,
Yeah,
Man City, everyone around us is improving,
yeah.
Tone. So
I think
I
Chelsea are
think
ones
you
the
know,
ones to watch. They've
they, as I say, mate. Did you hear him the other day? It was basically they've lost Colwill, so he said, "Oh, I need another centre back." They'll more
yeah,
likely find a way, sell a hotel, and they'll get a centre back. He went, "Oh, I've only got Jamie Gittens. I can't remember, Tyrick George.
yeah,
So that's two. Label two now." And then he's gone, "Oh, I need a third one." So we're sitting there going, actually, Eze, we've got, fair enough. All right, we've got one year. You've got Erdegaard there. Dalman's coming through. He's still young, in my opinion.
Yeah, good player
You
by the
need to
way.
take
Really
time
good
with the
player.
boy.
I hope he gets time this season.
He's going to be a really, really good player. He needs to come on from the bench, and he does need to get games. But I think you look at them, you've got teams like Chelsea going, we need a third left winger. And we're going, at the moment, as it stands, we're saying that Trossard and Martinelli are the way to go on the left. As I said to you last year, and you'll back me up on it, what did I say? We need a Saka level talent, in my opinion, on the left hand side.
Yeah.
Madueke, I think, is going to be underrated. And I know, again, we'll
So
come to
look,
disagreement with that.
I've
But I think he's a good player, but I don't think
yeah.
he's a left winger that you're going to need to change the
Who-
dynamics of that team, mate.
When I think
Would
of
you agree?
Madueke, right? When I think of Madueke, is he an upgrade on Martinelli? No, I don't think
Um,
he is. I don't think he is. I think he,
yeah,
when you look at him, like he's a very good player, and in a way I feel sorry for him because he's come into a team where everyone's going to be watching him because he's going to start on the left wing. You don't Arsenal in all the
yeah,
years, my lifetime supporting them, have they ever bought a player and paid over the odds, £52 million to say that's going to be
yeah.
a backup player? No chance.
Exactly. No,
He's
no,
gonna,
100%, 100%.
I think Martinelli will start. He will
Yeah.
start. It will start against United at Old Trafford, but I don't think he's gonna. I think Madueke will come in on the left, and I think it will
Mm,
soon trickle Martinelli out.
yeah.
But I don't think it's an improvement. I really don't. He's gonna. He's very. Yeah, I agree. He's an upgrade on Sterling, but Sterling didn't set the bar that high, did he? Really?
It's a terrible player to compare him with,
Yeah,
mate.
he couldn't get going. But
Yeah.
look, we got to give the guy a chance. I think that the worst thing that's happened is we haven't. If we don't sign a left winger and we deploy him there, and I think he's literally the pressure's going to be on him. And
Mm,
unfortunately,
yeah.
our supporters are losing their patience now. We won a trophy, and
Mm,
if Madueke, if they think Madueke is going to be that guy, then it's on Arteta's head. I'm afraid. He
mm.
has to make it work.
Yeah.
Um,
If Yeah. Sorry, Tone. Yeah. No. I agree with you there. I mean, that's one thing. Obviously, we talk about. It's a tough one. It's a tough one with what you're saying there. With like what you think. He he's had to spend a lot, which I know
yeah,
you can tell that if you can get that up for it, how much he's had to spend. I think a lot of mistakes happened when he first joined, and I think the problem is as well is going back a little bit further to the conversation in terms of like Zinchenko and selling players, because as far as we're aware at the moment, there's so many contrasting reports saying, "Oh, Arsenal haven't gone for Eze yet because they got to sell." So they're
yeah,
saying, "Oh, we're going to sell. They need to sell Trossard, sorry, Vieira, potentially Nelson." We have still, and it's what is it now, dude? Is it August 16th? So he's done a
yeah,
fantastic job. He's practically done 9 deals, 3 contract renewals, 6 signings. We can't complain about the fact that he's done 6 signings because it was terrible last
no,
summer.
yeah. I
It was
think
terrible. It
yeah,
was terrible. We have to get that out there. It's not that sense. He's done well in that sense, but it's 16th of August, mate, and not
yeah.
one player who is surplus to requirements has been sold.
No,
And we're now talking, as you said, 8 million. Do you know? Someone said he's on about 150 grand a week, mate.
but that's the
So
problem. We
you can't
we
sell them
put
for a lot, can you?
we put ourselves in a position because we're paying such high wages
Mm.
that when it comes to send them, we're getting peanuts because clubs are,
Yeah,
as a player, you expect them to do that. It's their livelihood. I'm not reducing my wages. So clubs are hitting us with a lower fee so they can cover them wages.
yeah,
I don't know why we do it, to be fair. It's, I mean, I think Zinchenko was on 30 grand at City before we signed him. We signed him and put him on over 100 grand. So it's nuts. I don't understand why we do that. I mean, that's crazy.
yeah.
I
No,
think,
I agree with you, Tony. I agree with you, mate. Yeah, definitely. There's no,
yeah,
there's no. I mean, again, there's pros and cons obviously of Edu, and that's where that comes into it because you have to look at it. People can say a lot. We have to kind of say, would you have to realise the good stuff he done. The best for me, the best summer that he did was two of them really. Do you know? Obviously, the summer we improved. We had Ramsdale, I think Ben White. They would, in my opinion, they improved as they, in terms of up the level to a team that could, potentially challenge for top four, or even, we were better than finishing eighth, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
But, as much as he divides a lot of opinion, um, bringing in Timber, fantastic signing tone for me.
yeah, brilliant
He's
player.
like, like Sanya, like Sanya. I love the Sanya sign. He was a fantastic fullback, And Timber can play left, right, central. Fantastic sign. We lost him for a bloody year with
Yeah,
his
that was
injury, which
unlucky.
was,
That.
what would have happened that year? What would have happened that year if he stayed fully fit? He'd signed Declan Rice. Havertz for me, I wanted him since his Bayer Leverkusen days, maybe. If you remember rightly, I'm pretty sure it's either Dad signed, Chelsea signed Timo Werner and Havertz in the same summer. For me, I wasn't bothered about Timo Werner. He was banging goals in Germany, and the rest of these stats speak for himself. He's not really, done anything. But Havertz for me he reminded me of an Özil that could score goals and a bit of pace. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I remember seeing him. So as much as he divides opinion, obviously people were saying he was signed as a left centre midfielder, with Rice sitting, Erdegaard and him. That didn't work. But it could work with, he didn't get on with, he didn't have a great rapport with, say, a Jesus or an Nketiah. I would like to see, for one, because obviously he's not going to play every time, he's going to dovetail with Gyökeres. If it comes to it in a game, get Havertz in that left eight behind Gyökeres, so you can
yeah,
put that ball in the box. They're going to be dangerous together,
yeah,
and I think that's where his value comes in. It's 65 million, and people said, "Oh, we could have used that for a striker." I get that.
yeah.
I get it. Too. That
That.
that was his 200 million summer, and I think we had to defer. Sorry, mate, we had to defer it for Raya,
Yeah, yeah. The only problem with
the
Havertz.
loan deal. So we
Yeah,
had to refer the 30 million.
yeah,
And you know,
yeah. I think the only thing with
go on, son, go
Havertz,
on. Go on.
for some reason, Arteta's will. I feel like he will. It will find a place for him in the team, and
I think he has to. He has to for
yeah,
his own thing.
yeah,
He's signing.
yeah,
It doesn't matter. I'm an individual. There's quite a few individuals. Yourself, our friends will have different. On our chat, will have different opinions. This is now what we'd like to know. Obviously, I'd like to see if your opinion on what I'm going to say. Is that as I say, this is if they were to sign him. If he doesn't sign anyone else, it's in terms of numbers, you've maybe signed one or two that we've required. The rest you filled the squad gap. This now, in terms of going back to what we were saying about Arteta in the end of the season, to finish that conversation, he now should have the team that he's comfortable with. His problem is rotating players efficiently. Saka pinged his hammy, Havertz pinged his hammy. We lost. Erdegaard was an international duty, but he needs to learn to rotate and trust his players. He didn't trust Sterling, so Saka played and played and played.
yeah,
He played a World Cup. I've touched wood. Declan Rice has been okay. I mean, he's one of our best players, and Marino is good in certain things. He doesn't impress me in midfield. I don't know if he's a holding midfielder or what, but why I'm waffling on that dude is because I just think, I would say again, there's still a weakness in the middle of the park in that section. Like, you've
yeah,
got Norgard who can cover Subamendi. I just think sometimes Marino gets lost in the game. And I just think he has to trust players more in terms of, and that's why it comes into it again, which you're right. The 52 million for Madueke is it's obviously it's a lot to pay. You don't pay 52 million for a backup, but
no,
you have to look at it. If there's a case of whatever the club do, don't be surprised, mate, if we don't bring another player in. By the way, I'll just put that out there. But
yeah,
at least you have to look at it that Madueke is capable enough to say to put in Arteta's head that he can play if Saka needs a rest. Whether he's going to be up to Saka level will have to be seen. But
yeah,
I think going back to that Arteta question, which I think obviously you can obviously, like, please say your opinion. For me, I would say if he gets the team and he gets the left winger that he's chosen, this is his team he's chosen.
Yeah.
This has to be a final throw of the dice. And if he wins something, we go, okay, people are saying online, which I like to see I'd like to ask you this question, dude, now, because I've waffled for a long enough time.
Yeah.
You know, this is his team.
Yeah.
What would you be if he didn't win the Premier League, didn't win the Champions League, but he won a cup or maybe won both cups or one cup? Do you think that's enough? Would
Uh,
you to keep him in the job? Sorry, like, to
I,
keep
I,
him,
w-
keep him there. Do you think,
I would say I would probably say yes because he's won a trophy, right? And
know,
that's what I think would
it's
give him a
he won?
lifeline
Is
for another
yeah,
season. He's got that
yeah,
trophy over
100%.
the line, and
Yeah.
I think that would give him that lifeline because if he wins an FA Cup, even a League Cup, I think would probably cause that cause the argument to go, oh, he's won a trophy. Um, but it all depends how the league campaign goes in the Champions League. If he gets knocked out in the last 16, then you're going to be asking questions. And if we finish fourth, again, I think you have to weigh up. If we finish second again and win the trophy, yeah, it's a hard one. And I think a lot of supporters are getting really divided over, you know, him being
Yes,
here. You got to look at the sense of 6 years. He's nearly spent £1 billion. Someone actually asked me, earlier today, what would have happened if Wenger would have been given that sort of money? Because he was towards the end, he was sort of cash drunk. You had to find, you had to find players on low budgets.
mm.
Um, what would Arteta have done with someone like, Yaya Sanogo and Shamak? What would he have done with them sort of players?
Exactly.
You know,
100%. 100%.
so it's yeah, I feel like I think he has to win a trophy. I think that's the first thing he's got to do. Get some silverware on the door. Finish strong. Winning the league would be a dream. Champions League we've never done it, so
Both.
it's yeah, it it's one of them things we just have to make sure that he starts strong, which is going to be difficult. Um, onto the next point. I think we should discuss the Tony Adams comments. On a
Yeah, yeah.
he was on a
100%.
show. I think it was in Ireland. I've got a
Mm.
recording of it. Just to hear his thoughts. Let me know if you can't hear it. Hopefully you can.
Yeah, go on, matey.
I think he's got a really big call to make this year. And for me, he hasn't done it. And the call is to make Declan Rice the captain. For a couple of reasons. I forgot he's Irish, isn't he? Idiot.
He's not Irish.
Exactly.
Was. He's not
Exactly.
Irish.
So I think Declan is my kind of captain, and what it might do, it might free Odegaard up to play with a bit more freedom. He had a very average season last year. The Portuguese lad is not don't know yet. So he's untried and tested. I would like to have seen him got Ollie Watkins, to be honest with you. He's a gooner. He might have given us a year, and we might have won the title. But I think sometimes when you've got the main man and the captain of the club, Terry Venables did it. He took David Platt and he put me as captain, and Glenn Hoddle took me out and put Alan Shearer, which was a silly decision. But every now and again, as a manager, you have to put someone that reflects you, that reflects the football club, that you think you can actually take it to the next level.
Does he reflect Arteta?
Odegaard
Does Declan
didn't
Rice
for me.
reflect Arteta?
I think he's better than Arteta. I think he's a winner.
No, what I'm saying does Declan Rice portray all the values that Arteta wants?
I think he's an Arsenal kind of leader. I think he is. He's a good in the dressing room, around the training camp, around anything. He's got standards. He's got principles. He's got, I can see the man that's he's a proper player and a
No, I
proper
agree.
captain.
I think Declan Rice.
Do you look at Declan Rice in a way?
I would have done it, but you're talking about Arteta and stuff, but Arteta's not done it, so I'm being critical of Arteta at the moment. I think big managers go, right, actually, you're my man now.
Could I just get it?
I'm gonna leave it there. But he makes a very, very interesting point. We all love Tony Adams. He's an Arsenal legend.
100%.
He's been getting so much stick for his comments, which everyone has an opinion, and he's very much entitled to his opinion because he knows where it takes to win, right? So I think you have to, same with Thierry Henry. He's had comments, and he's been sort of ridiculed for some of his comments.
Mm,
You know, it all comes from a place of love. They both love this football club. So there was one thing that in there that Tony Adams did say. There's 2 points to this. So it's on YouTube, guys. If you want to have a good listen to it, it was a really interesting video. There was 2 points he raised. Obviously, he said that Declan Rice needs to be made our captain for this
mm,
season. He thinks he'd be a better captain than Martin Odegaard. The second point was as long as Martin Odegaard is our captain, we're never going to win the Premier League. So
mm,
the first point I agree with. I think Declan Rice would be a better captain.
mm,
The second point I disagree with.
mm.
I don't think it's down to who the captain is. I think the whole team
Yeah,
is responsible for winning the league, not just one person. Um, and it's interesting because I was listening to Arteta's press conference for the United game, and he actually come out. He obviously in the press conference, they're going to call him out on Tony Adams, what he's saying. Um, One thing come out of that was he Arteta's response was quite interesting as well. He said every time they start a new season, they do a vote of who they want the captain to be. And he
yeah,
literally said 1,000,000% Odegaard got everyone's vote.
yeah.
So, how much that is true, we don't know.
Mm.
But if that is true, then, the players are backing him. So, we have to get behind it. Um, but as I said, it's an interesting point because Declan Rice is a very strong character. He's a leader. And I do think that he would make a good captain. Um, and you got to look at the point of, if, Tony Adams' point as well is of, so Martin Odegaard, take it off him, let him concentrate on his football. You get back to being the amazing player that he was when we first signed him. Um, what's your thoughts on that interview? Because it's caused a little bit of divide with the Arsenal players. A lot of them are tending to piss off. He's no longer a legend. He's a
Yeah.
disgrace. All the things you've been hearing. I'm like, no, he's entitled to his opinion. It's
Mm,
a very strong opinion. It's not gonna, it's not everything's gonna be liked by everyone. I
mm.
just find it interesting. It's an interesting point. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, Tone. I mean, like we had a previous discussion prior to recording the other day, and as you just said, I'm not going to try to tread on you. We both we grew up. Like Tony Adams, he's an absolute legend. I mean, you know that some of this fan base of he was filmed when we lost to Stoke and the Arsenal players were on the train and Wenger was getting abuse, dogs abuse, and
Yeah,
what that guy done for us. So when legends come and have an opinion that these these so-called fans, well, they are fans, but their opinions and the way they act, it's just
yeah,
sometimes it's like, why do you have to go to that extreme? The timing, I think, is obviously a bit, as I've
yeah,
said as well. I just think it's become, we haven't even started. We haven't kicked off at Old Trafford. We haven't kicked a ball in anger bar pre-season, which is pre-season is building fitness, building shape, building, connections between players and stuff like that. Um, the interesting one is catching snippets on X of him saying to free Erdegaard. I agree with that.
yeah,
Um, I agree with, as I say, the same as you with Declan Rice. We love Declan Rice. Sometimes, Tone, you can have leaders that are not captains on the pitch. Gabriel, right? He'll make a tackle, he'll raise the crowd, he'll just celebrate.
yeah,
When Erdegaard's off the pitch, he gets the captain's armband. I agree with that. If he's off the pitch, Saka gets it. The thing is, like I want to bring up a point as well, which is whether you agree with as well. If Rice was made captain, he would jump Rice and Gabriel because Gabriel, sorry, I do apologise
Saka.
there. Gabriel and Saka, sorry,
Yeah,
Rice would jump them the queue sort of thing, if you like. If you're going to say if Tony Adams is going to come out, he's entitled to his opinion because he is an Arsenal legend, the same as Thierry Henry. Everyone has an entitlement to an opinion, no matter where you come from, whether it's right and wrong. you know, what your social thing of deciding you're going to go onto Twitter to abuse people, you know, that's your prerogative. It's not the right thing to do, but that's your, you know, you want to be a
Yeah,
keyboard warrior.
yeah,
You have to look at what he's saying to agree with it. Say, Tony, you know, I agree with you, but in terms of the captaincy, I think as well it would shake a lot of stuff up. As much
yeah.
as Odegaard needs to improve, Tony.
I think
Odegaard needs to improve his performances.
I think
You know,
I think
I
I
think it
think
would
that's the
upset
point.
people.
Yeah, I think that's the point he's making. You know,
Yeah,
he thinks he knows it's a big decision, but he's like it's all part of being a big manager. That's why
yeah.
he said if you're a big manager, you make them calls and you change things up. So
Mm.
it's interesting. So I thought I'd share it with you guys. Just
Yeah.
it's been a topic of discussion for most of the week. So yeah,
To
good to
add to
talk
that,
about that.
Tone, to add to that thing as well is like again another thing to just to bring up into the conversation is I think, as I say, and I think whether you agree with me or not, and you can obviously say, mate, that's just, you know, but I just think if you're going to do something like that, you should kind of go into pre-season first game and go, Martin, we've had a fault, blah blah blah. But Arteta is not that kind of manager.
Yeah,
See, you know, like Adams would, you know, say George Graham was his manager. George Graham, if anyone's going to change, Tony Adams wouldn't have been changed, but he might have gone. By the way, Tony, you're not my captain this year. I'm going to change a captain.
yeah,
Arteta, which again I think Wenger, I don't know if it's Wenger or Emery, but he does this. He's got a captain, which is Odegaard, is his voice on the pitch, but he's got a group. The captaincy now has changed, Tone. You know, you haven't got one. Tony Adams was, come on, you know, you'd get in that dressing room. Jesus Christ. If I was in that dressing room and I had a bad game,
you
I
shit
wouldn't want to be on
yourself.
the end. Yeah, I wouldn't be on it. And then the same with Patrick Vieira, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Tony
I
Adams and
don't.
Patrick Vieira in the dressing room.
Yeah,
I think it's changed, dude.
you don't
I think
get.
it's changed.
Yeah, you don't get the Roy Keanes of that day. Us growing up, Roy Keane, Patrick Vieira. You
Yeah,
don't get them sort of captains really. It's more. I think more the captains are being picked now based on how they act and what they do.
yeah,
Um,
100%.
it's setting an example. It's not so much shouting and screaming at people. Like, the reason why Declan Rice is being thought at as that character, Tony Adams is very, clearly said that he's a leader. That's because you see him
He
put
is.
himself
Yes.
back. Really good example of Declan Rice being a leader. Real Madrid, Thomas Partey. He's on a yellow card and
Yeah.
he's getting involved in arguments and stuff.
He had
And
no need to do it. Yeah.
the one thing I'd say to that is you didn't see Odegaard anywhere near that then, did you?
Yeah.
You
Fair
see
point.
Declan Rice grabbing Partey, putting him away, telling him, what the fuck is wrong with you? You've got yourself
Yeah.
another yellow card and you've put us in trouble for the next game. We need you. But
Yeah.
obviously, I didn't see Odegaard doing that. So maybe that's probably where that argument comes into play is, would
Yeah.
have Odegaard gone up to him in the change room after and gone like, that was stupid what you just done. You fucked us.
Yeah.
Does that happen anymore? You don't know. Like you don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but you'd like to think that do they hold each other accountable? That does
Yeah.
that's why Tony Adams has every right to his opinion because he's done a lot for Arsenal. So I think take it on board, but again, just remember it's his opinion. And
It's exactly, dude. It's a separate
it's
opinion. The problem, the thing is with these when you abuse them, you have to realise.
yeah,
For me, I had I went into the shopping centre, our local shopping centre, before I moved away. But I went there and I had a picture with Tony Adams.
yeah,
I was too shy to talk to him, but I've got a special affinity for him. A, because he's a captain. B, I've seen him in the flesh,
yeah,
and C, he was just a fantastic player.
yeah,
Another thing as well that a lot of players, a lot of ex-players. I mean, Paul Merson, he's an ex-Arsenal player, but he actually supports Chelsea.
yeah,
So he will say stuff, but you're like, as much as it used to annoy me.
yeah,
I still, as a kid, seeing I love Paul Merson as a player.
yeah,
So, his opinion, he was very vocal against Wenger, which I was against, but I can't hate players. And the last thing you should be doing is getting behind your keyboard and going this and that and the other about him, what's he know, or making a
yeah,
comment. Because at
yeah,
the end of the day, that guy has won more stuff than us supporters have ever done, and that's most of us haven't
yeah.
done, unless we're professional footballers.
I
He
mean,
knows he's
yeah,
been there. He's got an older way of thinking. The game has just moved past that. I mean, you look
yeah,
at just for one in point, dude. Before obviously we move along, Fernandez for Man United when he dives, lays on the floor crying. Would you really say that that's a guy who's going to come along and roll these players up when Man United were losing 3-0 against Bournemouth or 4-0, whatever it was at half
yeah. I
time?
mean,
You know, a captaincy is
yeah,
it's an interpretation there, mate. As I say, you could also look at it. It's different for a goalkeeper because a goalkeeper being. I don't agree with a goalkeeper ever being a captain. I say that because the goalkeeper can't have a shout at he's centre forward,
yeah,
you know, midfield. You know, we've played together in a football team. You
yeah,
know, and that you could be the vocal, but yeah, the goalkeeper's there to control the back line. You know, Tony Adams, see from the front, you could tell he could organise his midfield. While the goalkeeper, you know, if he needed to, he could get to the, but the goalkeeper can't leave his 18-yard box. But why I'm trying to waffle on that, dude, is because you can have captains in every area of the pitch, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
Lead from the centre back, your captain, everyone, you know, Louis Gabriel, yeah. William Saliba's a Rolls Royce. Timber is just absolutely brilliant. Well, let's not forget as well, like we've got Ben White, Calafiori. I love them guys. We'll come to the lineup later in our opinion. But you can have leaders at every area of the pitch.
yeah,
Your job, you know, Gabriel's a more experienced centre half, and William Saliba plays the game, relax. You think he's got this, and he makes the game look easy. But Gabriel's got that passion, that heart, that experience. He's your captain at the back. David Raya commands that back with him. He's the captain there. He commands his bit. Gabriel does his bit. Erdegaard, captain's his role, I think personally, is obviously to lead the press, and
yeah,
that's what he's the voice of Arteta. Declan Rice is the captain in the midfield.
yeah,
If you know what I mean, if you get what I'm saying, you know, up front you could argue again. It could be Saka in terms of trying to lead the attack. He's our hope. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah,
he has got the armband when the other captains are off the pitch. But I just think you can argue that in terms of Erdegaard's form, but I think you've got your own captains in there that haven't got the armband anyway. With Arsenal, it was always built on a strong back line and a spine, you know.
yeah,
And then you had the finish, you know, Thierry Henry. Let's hope you can't say he's going to be anywhere near because no one can touch Henry or Ian Wright. But let's hope we needed that in that team, that out and out scorer, right? So let's just see in terms of what it is, but how the team goes. But I think leaders on the pitch, you can have leaders in certain sections of it, and I think Erdegaard isn't everyone's cup of tea in terms of a captain. But like you said, Declan Rice, he done what Erdegaard should have done.
yeah,
But I think as well as Gabriel, because Gabriel was injured, wasn't he? Gabriel weren't
yeah,
fit.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure Gabriel would have had a go at him as well, dude.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
it's an interesting one, mate. Obviously you can, you know,
yeah,
it's one of those that people can kind of question, but yeah, it's
yeah.
you know, but
I
we'll move
think
on, mate.
that's a
But
nice
it's one,
little.
it's an
Yeah, that's
interesting
it's an
thing. But yeah.
interesting topic. Yeah, have a watch on the video, guys, when you get a moment. It's a really interesting interview. Moving on swiftly to first game of the season.
Yeah, we'll move on to matters
Old,
now. Yeah.
Old Trafford. It's never been a good stomping ground for us. I mean, obviously, we've had our good times there as well. Won the league there, Silver and World Tour. That lives long in the memory. But yeah, obviously, them games are a lot different now. They're not the same rivalry as they used to be. Although, I still think that we have a little bit of a. I still feel there's a little bit of nervousness when we go to Old Trafford. I feel like
Yeah.
we're not we're in an ideal world we're better equipped to play Man United now. We've got a better team than them. Obviously, some Man United fans will disagree with that. But I think that on paper we should be winning this quite comfortably. I think, but I don't think it's going to play out that way. It's going to be a very difficult game. So before we go into our predicted 11, what are your thoughts on the fixture? How do you think we're going to get on?
So, how long we've been watching football together for, mate?
Yeah,
I hate Old Trafford,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you know
So
that
that's
I've got obviously you get excited anyway. I love to start, when it's leading up to the Premier League. I'll watch the lower league because you miss football.
Yeah,
Last year we had a football overload with a tournament and stuff like that. But
yeah,
the excitement of playing your first game, you know, ends up that you it's going to either go there. It can make your weekend. It can break your weekend. Like it is,
yeah.
obviously, it's at Sunday. You know, if you have to
To say
work,
it's pretty why it's good. It's a good thing it's on a Sunday, so it doesn't
it
actually ruin your weekend
no.
either
I
side.
mean, exactly. Your mood going into work. I mean, lucky enough, I'm off next week. But if you were to go and work on Monday morning, it's one of
Yeah,
them. One of them. You'd rather, for me, if you look at the first six fixtures. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think we've got Forest away, haven't we? We've got Leeds at home, the second game. So you've got Man United away, Liverpool away, Man City at home, Nottingham Forest away. Obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've still got three of the top teams. Other than the fact that if we were to play Man City, say you've got Man City, Liverpool, and Man United out of the way in the first six games, as tough as that sounds,
yeah,
you have the rest, you know what I mean? You've got 32 games to, it's I'm not
yeah,
happy that we have to go to Old Trafford, dude. It's a tough game. I
yes,
think we, on paper, I've predicted this. Can I say to my predicted score? You
yeah.
might laugh,
That's what I
but
was going to
I
next.
think,
Yeah,
I think we,
what do you reckon?
I reckon we'll win 3-1.
3-1. Wow. Is
I
that your
think
heart
that
talking?
what do
Is
you
that your
say?
heart talking over your head or?
I just, you know what? It's a bit of both, but it's also a bit of a thing which I want to say to you. And I want to. This is where the argument will come in. I think Man United will score. I
Okay.
say what I think they will score because it's at Old Trafford,
Yeah.
and it's also because they've got Guemo. I don't know if Shesko is going to start. Sorry, I'll pronounce that properly. It's Shesko,
Well, he has
but
done.
I
I
don't
think
think he's going to start.
he was doing pre-season, wasn't he, with Leipzig? I think he was
He
involved.
done it, yeah. So I mean, whether he chucks him in, because obviously you've got to realise Amarim's obviously Gyökeres's old coach. Will he
Yeah.
kind of say, will he want to be, you know, push his shoulders out and say, I want to start because you don't want to come, you didn't want to come. Because basically, you look at it, it's the derby of we were meant to be
It
getting
is.
Sesko,
Yeah.
Man United wanted Gyökeres, and it's
Yeah.
reversed itself.
Yeah.
So, I think that we have to be careful of Man United in the attacking sense. I think, in my opinion, and it's just an opinion because it's what we're all here for, opinions and fact and talking our club. I think they're weak defensively. I think his system means he shuts the spaces down, but the personnel, in my opinion, are not good enough to stop a Saka, to stop a
Yeah.
Gyökeres. You got Subamendi, he just plays. He can play
Yeah.
on both feet. He spreads the play. I just think
Yeah.
they'll struggle. They'll struggle to handle us. I think we can score. I think we can surprise a few people. They will be compact, but I think they you can get at them, and that's what I mean. Maybe 3-1's a bolder prediction, Tone, but I just think that that'll be their weakness throughout the season. But
Yeah.
I think they will score a ton of goals. So against Saliba and Gabriel, and to be fair, I don't want to ruin the. Well, if you come to the
Yeah.
11, dude, I won't ruin what my opinion is. But that's why I think they will score. But I think we're good enough defensively to soak up a lot of pressure. We just got to it's the goal. So, what would you say? Would you say that's a bit too much in terms of that? Do you think that's a bit of a bold to
Do you
say we
know?
get three at Old Trafford?
Do you know what? It can go a couple of ways. I think I'm thinking of last season as well. You know, we went there thinking, oh, do you know what? We should
Yeah,
comfortably beat them. They're
it's a
sitting
good
in
one. Yeah.
15th position. It should be an easy win, you know. But I think they've signed some good players. Their attacking line's completely
Oh,
different to
you
last
can't
season.
argue that. They've
You know,
brilliant
I
signing.
think I think where we get them, I think our midfield is better. We've got a stronger
100%.
midfield. We're going to
100%.
dominate the ball. We always do.
Yeah.
My worry with our tactics, right? This is where my biggest worry is. I think I think for certain games we need to ditch the inverted fullback
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm with you.
I think that Sketty going into midfield, you know, during pre-season, Villarreal, really good example, tucks in, you know, Villarreal break our press. It's one ball over to the right hand side on the break. They've got
100%.
us through on goal. Pepe
Yeah.
scores, where you know it, and we're a little bit predictable now. So I feel like you if you've got Gyökeres in the box or he's making them runs in the box, even Havertz if he's making runs in the box,
Yeah.
you've got to be in a position to have overlap on that side. This is where I feel a little bit sorry for Martinelli because he's isolated on the left hand side because his fullback's gone into midfield, so he's got no outlet overlapping him. Where if you look at Saka on the right hand side, he's got Ben White or Timber running around the side of him, or he's got Odegaard literally moving right over to the right hand side. He's got two or three options around him, to give it go or go back, start again. Whereas Martinelli's got
Mm.
pretty much Declan Rice, I think, if he turns around.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
if not, he's got to go and run it on his own. So um, I feel a bit sorry for him in that sense because I think he's not hitting form, but I think it's a hard one because I feel that you bring in Rodrigo, he's going to want that support as well.
yeah,
Or even
exactly.
Eze sort of players, they're going to need that support.
Yeah,
He's got to change the tactics slightly. He's got to tweak it. You can't. He's obsessed with this inverted midfield, and
yeah,
I think we've been sussed. Low block
yeah,
teams will just sit in
mm,
and go, all right, break us down.
yeah,
There's a couple of passes. They'll break our press. Then they're on the cat. Like, Bournemouth done it to us last season at the Emirates. Literally, come break us down. The whole game, 80th minute,
boom.
counter attack, they score. He's got to change it. I think he's got to look at the tactics and he's got to tweak it slightly. It isn't too bad. I feel like we have been a little bit boring to watch at times,
Yeah,
where it's a lot of sideways, a lot of stuff. I think he's just got to change up, make it a bit quicker. I think Zubamendi's going to be superb, by the way. Him and
100%,
Rice
mate,
in that in
100%,
that pivot. You know,
100%.
I feel like we might have a bit more, fluidity going around the
Yeah,
pitch. So I think as long as we move the ball quickly and it's it. I think tomorrow. I think it's gonna be 1-1. I've got 1-1. I've got a draw. I think it's opening game. United ain't gonna wanna. They're gonna start strong. They're at home. They've got a new set of signings. They're gonna be up for it.
yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
think I'd say 1-1. I mean, I'm hoping for a win. Obviously, I am, but I think it's gonna be a very very tough game. So I'm gonna say 1-1. Um, that's my prediction. Should we go through our starting 11s with both
Yeah, yeah,
both
we'll
done?
explain. Yeah, go through that, matey, and obviously we can explain sort of like what we think and that. I mean, obviously you've hit quite a nail on the head there, matey. I can't argue with any point there. To be fair.
So I think that. Can you see my screen? Can you see us?
Yeah, let's come up now, matey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So on the left hand side is my prediction, and on the right is
yeah,
yours. I think literally like for like. The only difference being is um oh well actually
no, I
no.
think
So
we all
I think I made a
you
last
made it.
minute change.
Yeah,
I think
you've made
I
it.
was
You've made a change to. Yeah,
I think Calafiori
yeah,
at left back is probably the only I'm sort of in two minds. I feel like
yeah. I'm
I'm
with
actually
it.
going to change it again. I I think he's going to go with Timber at left back and Ben White at right back, and I think that's fair because Ben White's had a really good pre-season.
Yeah,
And
it's such a yeah.
I
It's a
think
tough
Ben
one.
White and Saka are better than
Mm,
Saka and Timber.
yeah.
Timber's a better defender, but I think Ben White offers a little bit more going forward.
Mm,
I think Timber's going to go left back purely because of defensive side of things. I think that Lewis Skelly, as good as he is, I think he's still young. He's still got to learn his trade at left back, and I think he got a
mm,
little bit caught out in pre-season. So I think that
yeah, yeah,
Timber will offer that bit of stability at left back. So him or Calafiori actually, I think. I thought more Timber. I think I'll be honest with you, but I think the only thing with Timber, he might not offer the attacking threat that maybe your Skelly or Calafiori will offer. So
yeah.
yeah, I think we both agree on that. What do you think Arteta's going to go with? Because these are our
Yeah,
predictions, right? What do you think he's going to go with?
yeah, that's it, dude. I mean, I get you. You know, it's such a tough one. I love, as I mentioned before, when I was saying about the summers of what he done. I love Ben White. He had a bit of a bad time of it last year, and obviously we were struggling. Tommy Asu had his own problems. So it was obviously we over relied a lot on Saliba and Timber on that right side.
Yeah,
Mosquera, sorry, in terms of I will get his name right, but having him and White as as competition basically. Obviously, Saliba's not going to come out of the team. The factors and the strength which we have to praise really is the fact that, as you've said, you're playing. You want to, which I agree with. By the way, I agree with you. Your reasoning behind Timber. You look at it. You won't have a problem if you had White or Timber at right back.
yeah,
Calafiori, and to an extent, MLS. Let's just say we are not slagging MLS off. He struggled a lot in pre-season,
yeah,
this is an 18-year-old kid. He's got his future ahead of him. He started in midfield. He's been an inverted left back for most of last season when Calafiori could not stay fit.
Yeah,
I put Calafiori in tone because this we can change our fullbacks. We can't change. Centre halves don't need to be changed and won't be changed. You won't
yeah.
change Raya, Gabriel, or Saliba. If Calafiori, you give 60 minutes. What it is I think Calafiori is a better defender, and he's one of them. He's unpredictable. Miles Lewis Skelly, people they simply Calafiori's ability on the ball. He comes in, drops in. You look at that goal, Man City. You think to yourself, Jesus Christ, what have we signed here? But the guy couldn't stay fit. I'd say it's more of a want. It's not anything against MLS. I just think at Old Trafford, it's something you look at, give it 60 minutes. You've got White and MLS if it doesn't work. You say that with Timber. Timber, if there's two things you can go, Tone. You can go attack him with White, maybe lesser defensively, or you play it safe. For me, and he's been he plays it safe too much of the time. That boring football, like you say,
Yeah,
he likes to keep it in a shape and he likes to have his inverted and whatever.
yeah.
I think Calafiori adds that unpredictability on the left.
Do you know
So,
what I was?
so that's
Sorry,
why.
do you know what I was thinking the other day? Right, Kieran Tierney.
Yeah.
I don't understand why we let him go because I I feel like if you're bringing a decent left winger, he's going to want someone overlapping, right? And he
Yeah.
was, Kieran Tierney was a natural left back. We've got two. This
To play
again,
wing back Tone. Yeah.
this inverted stuff. I think it needs to cut it out a little bit because I get when we first bought Zinchenko, it was the first season we started using it.
That was the
It
introduction of it, wasn't
surprised,
it?
yeah, it surprised your position.
Yeah.
It caught them off guard. We got a lot of goals by doing that because we
Yeah.
went from left to right
Of
very
course we did.
quickly, right? And the
Yeah.
transition of attack was very, very quick. But I feel like as it's going on, we're moving the ball a lot slower. It's you're isolating the left winger definitely by doing that now. So
100%. Yeah.
I genuinely think we should go back to overlapping, the fullbacks overlapping, and I think Martinelli might be a bit of a different player. If you know he's got an overlap around him,
Mm.
you might find that because what teams are doing that, just doubling up on Saka, and this is why I'm a little bit frustrated that we haven't got that left winger in because you want a team to go right. We've got Gyökeres in the middle, we've got Saka on the right, we've got little like shit.
You've
Who are we
yeah,
gonna
you've
mark?
got that on the list.
But
That's exactly my
because
argument, mate. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
because everything's going down our right hand side,
Yeah.
all they're doing is just deploying three or four players over that side, block out Saka, make him go back, and they're shifting as a unit. It makes like low blocking against Arsenal is probably the easiest thing for teams now because they know everything's going to go down the right hand side. We might switch it over. Martinelli will have no one around him. He'll run out of play or do a shit cross. That's what he's been doing lately.
Yeah.
And
He
it's
runs into the cul-de-sac.
what
Yeah.
he's got. I think maybe I don't think United will be as low block as say a Leeds. I think Leeds at home is going to be low block. Him on the break, right? Let them have the ball. They're not going to try and go toe to toe us because that's a free. That's what we want teams to do. But teams won't do that now. They know they don't have to do that. They'll sit in and
Mm.
then they'll pick their moment. And as much as Gabriel and Saliba are really good defenders, they're not always going to be able to get us out of that. And I think if you noticed last season, again, I would refer back to Bournemouth. There was so many occasions where it was 3-on-2 because it was
Yeah.
literally
Oh,
broke our
yeah.
press and that was it. They was that. And the thing is, there's some really good wingers in this league, like quick wingers,
Yeah.
technical wingers. An example of last night's game, that's the Semenyo at Bournemouth. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Apologies if I'm
Yeah.
butchering
Yeah.
the name.
Fantastic.
Um,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Again, just caught them on the break,
Mm.
and punished them. So
Yeah.
I think we just got like we're not going to stop teams going. If you've got a corner, you're naturally going to get hit on the counter attack. But we need to be very careful of that, of our press being broken and the transitions from us being in defence, and then we're short on numbers. But you know, we're quite lucky in a way. We've got some good runners in midfield. Like Zubimendi, what I've seen in pre-season has been really good. His ball winning ability is really good.
Mm.
So even Norgard, I think, can do a
Oh,
job.
I'm glad you said that. I
I
think,
think he's shocked a lot of Arsenal supporters.
yeah, yeah,
I think it's like, oh, why are we signing a 31-year-old? But from Bournemouth. He's come in and he's done a job. I think
From Brentford, Tone.
my Brentford apologies. Got them mixed
Like,
up. Um,
on,
uh,
carry on, mate.
they yeah, you can see why Brentford didn't want to lose him.
Mm.
He's a good player. He's obviously as a squad player, but I think he's accepted that he's going to be a squad player. But yeah, if it's one of them things where if somebody picks up a knock and he comes in, like oh that's because, but I'm comfortable that he'll do a job for us when he comes in.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, mate.
Yeah,
A lot of people were saying because in pre-season Arteta was playing Norgard a bit more than Subamendi.
yeah,
I just think it's his way of kind of saying, getting because Norgard is going to be like Jorginho, a vital. Sorry, I will get my words out right. Cog in what we want to do.
yeah,
You have to realise, obviously, with Jorginho, we can talk. I like to. That's a personal opinion of us. I'd also say, come on, done his best, but
yeah,
his body
yeah,
and his legs couldn't handle it last year. Norgard's a fitter version of that.
yeah,
So, he's still got the legs in him. He can put himself about. And all Arteta's doing is this is how I play. And he was playing him because, in my opinion, you don't chase a player for 2, 3 years like we did with Zubamendi. And Mikel knows to a T that he can just go, this is what I want you to do that. And that boy will
yeah,
go on the pitch and do it. Declan Rice, you don't need to say anything anyway. But
yeah,
that's why he wants to get Norgard integrated, which he did. Norgard played more than Subamendi
yeah,
because he's the one that needs to integrate more because Arteta's identified, we've been after him about 3 years, Tone. So it's been a long drawn out process. So I think you can't discount that. Like I say, I like Moreno in terms of I don't think he should play as a striker again. He upset a few people in the Villarreal friendly when he played up top.
yeah,
I think if whatever happens, we have to wait until the end of the transfer window. But I think it's for me, Tone. I struggle to see where he fits into the midfield, unless, like you say, like sitting because
yeah,
him and Norgard, they were going for us too quick. It wasn't Norgard's fault, in my opinion. I thought, you know, he was their best player, but you need a partner alongside you, like Declan Rice would do. And I just don't think that same amount of aggression. He's a fantastic finisher and aggressive hitting that box in Marino. If you need a goal and you want to put him in the 70th minute, wherever you're going to stick him, sometimes I think Arsenal fans are going to have to realise he might end up being a support striker with Gyökeres.
I think he will.
Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Or he'll play alongside. Oh, Gyökeres, it ain't quite working out. All
Well,
right, we've got to get the ball. Yova wants to do a special set piece.
yeah,
You might
yeah,
end up having Havertz and Marino up top. Tone.
yeah,
I think that's his role. But for me, I still think, his strength as a central midfielder, it's hard to see. And a lot of times it just seems the game can pass him by. But him playing that support striker kind of released him and had him shackles. And he's just shown he's a great finisher.
yeah,
He's a great hero of the ball. He's a great finisher. He's great to have in your box defending. But I just think his overall positional play is where I can't quite gather, is he a left eight? Is he a six? But
yeah,
I think, yeah, it's an interesting one, Tone. I think you've got to go with Subamendi Rice. A lot of fans were fearing that the reason why Norgard was playing was because he was going to start at Old Trafford. But
I don't think he will.
I
Yeah,
think Subamendi can come into any place, Tone. He's
yeah,
played here in the Europa League for Sociedad last year. He's got Rice next to him, Tone. This
yeah.
guy,
I think we're gonna
he's
have a
going to start. you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
in
We're
my
gonna have a
opinion, which is
yeah,
just an opinion, like
yeah,
I just said, Norgard was there. He was getting him used to the system because I think Subamendi could go in any midfield in the world
yeah,
and slot right in. He doesn't need an adaptation period. I think he just
yeah.
slots right in, mate.
I think we will dominate possession as well. So a player
Mm.
like that, he's gonna find little pockets
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that. I just hope the 3-4-3 that United play, their wing backs. I think where we're going to get them is when they try and attack us, and then we've got to move the
It's
ball
the open
quickly.
space in that middle time.
Yeah. So I think that's why I think he will start Martinelli on the left. I think just a
Mm.
bit of pace just to
Yeah.
run at the back three. But yeah, it's an awkward one. Yeah. So hopefully a win. Hopefully to
Yeah.
get a win. But I think
I say it might be sorry. It might be a bit sort of. And I'm really saying 3-1 again. As I'm confident enough in terms of saying
yeah,
I think we can win the league. You don't be overconfident. I just think you have a team that on a high, you cannot argue any shape of it. They have had a fantastic window in terms of attacking signings. You know, Euro again, he's got a lot of growing to do, but he's got potential.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not phased by their central defence, sorry, their
No.
central mid tone.
Yeah.
He will all the only thing that will stop him is, as you said, the 3-4-3. So he'll have like practically five players, three at the back, two sitting in front. He'll have his wingers, and they're the ones that you got to watch because obviously he's going to have. I don't know if he think he plays Bruno Fernandes in the middle, don't he? And I suppose it will be whoever he's going to play up top, Cunha and Embuemo. You know.
Yeah.
So for me, you've got four players there that are dangerous. You
So
know,
yeah,
whatever you think of Fernandez, he's a dangerous player.
Yeah.
We could, as you've just said, our major weakness all last year, transitions.
Yeah.
So if he gets it wrong, Arteta, I'm going to look a fool with my 3-1 prediction. So it's a tough game.
Yeah.
I think you can't underestimate them. I'm confident in the fact that I think we can score. It's a tough place to go. Maybe my overconfidence time. Maybe I'll drop it at a 2-1. But
Okay.
I think we're more than capable of beating them.
Yeah.
It's a case of dealing, which is the worry, with their front four. The rest, other than Euro, again, I think it's more potential. I don't think he's going to get better, but I think De Ligt, I don't rate. Mazraoui, their left back, I can't remember the fella's name. Is it Dorgu or something, matey? Dorku. They're flying. He's a wing back.
I can't
He's
remember.
I apologise for my pronunciation there. But I think but they don't hit me in a defensive mind. But I just think, it's going to be a dangerous one with those front four, mate. Definitely. So maybe I'll might be 2-3-1.
No, you're not confident now. The
I'm
more
going
you
to stay
talk about it, the
confident.
more
I'm going
you're
to stay
reducing
confident,
it.
mate.
You'll be with me in 1-1 soon.
I can't change that. I've gone with it now. I've gone with a win, mate.
I think we've been talking for quite a while, so I think we'll
Yeah.
leave it there.
It's the first time, mate. Yeah, it's been a breeze, really. Yeah, just chatting and letting it roll, mate. Yeah. How are you watching it tomorrow, mate?
So I'll be watching it on TV. It's on Sky Sports, I believe. So
so just down in, it's on normal Sky anyway, isn't it? So
normal Sky, yeah. So I think we were, So we'll do a reaction video afterwards.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
look out for that, guys. Apologies, it's been a long video, so there's a lot of stuff to discuss. But yeah, hit like and subscribe. We look forward to speaking to you again. Thank you. See
Cheers,
you later.
guys. See you
Bye.
later. Bye bye.